This is Malaysia, the fourth largest economy of Southeast Asia. This is a country which has achieved some remarkable growth. Also a country that is stuck in the middle income trap. If you look, since its formation in 1963, Malaysia's economic performance has been one of Asia's best. The gross domestic product grew by an average of 6.5% per year, that is from 1957 to 2005. Till the 70s, the Malaysian economy was highly dependent on agriculture and commodities exports. But after that, they began a transition towards a more multi-sector economy. Since the 80s, the industrial sector has led Malaysia's growth. High levels of investment played a significant role. With Japanese investment, heavy industries flourished, and in a matter of years the Malaysian exports became the country's primary growth engine. They consistently achieved more than 7% GDP growth, along with low inflation in the 1980s and the 1990s. The government also played an important role in this industrialization, in the form of state-owned enterprises. The Heavy Industries Corporation of Malaysia is a perfect example of this. With government protection, this corporation has emerged as one of the biggest companies, and offered jobs to thousands of people. At the same time, the government removed import barriers, and promoted export policies. This attracted many foreign companies to set up their manufacturing in Malaysia. It was a much needed boost to the economy, because state-led development has limitations in long terms. Due to the same reason, they also privatized many corporations in order to sustain long-term economic growth. Today Malaysia has successfully diversified its economy, from agriculture and commodity-based, to solid manufacturing and service sectors. Still it is the second main producer of palm oil and tropical wood, and the fifth largest exporter of rubber. Also, agriculture employed 10.1% of Malaysians in 2020, while contributing to 7.3% to the GDP. At present, the service sector employs about 63% of population, and accounts for more than half of the GDP output. This majorly includes healthcare services, transport, distributive trade, and tourism. In fact, tourism is the third biggest contributor to their economy after manufacturing and commodities, with over 7% GDP contribution, and 26.1 million foreign tourists in 2019. Over the years Malaysia has become one of Asia's major tourist destinations. Next, if we talk about industry, the country is a major outsourcing destination for components manufacturing, after China and India. Malaysia has attracted significant foreign investments, which has played a major role in the transformation of their economy. The industry contributes around 37.4% to the GDP, and employs 26% of the active population. Malaysia is one of the world's largest exporters of semiconductor devices, electrical goods, and appliances. Over that they have ambitious plans to be a key producer and developer of high-tech products, including software. Well, Malaysia is one of the strongest, most diversified, and fastest growing in Southeast Asia. But still not among the high-income countries. You see, after the Asian financial crisis of 97-98, Malaysia's economic engine has been slowing down. Also, private investors have taken a backseat. Since the crisis, aggregate investment as a share of GDP in Malaysia has continued to decline, with private investment remaining stagnant due to several factors. And the country's economic growth is somehow stuck in the middle income trap. That means the country is struggling to transform itself from upper middle income to higher income status. Now, one of the factors of being stuck in this middle income trap is overdependence on FDI and lack of research and development. You see, multinational companies will only provide an instant capital, expertise, and technology, but they won't develop or improve the country's product. The Malaysian businessmen seem to be satisfied in making profit by serving the MNCs, and maintaining their original assembly-based business models. Besides this, the labor productivity is growing quite slower than in the 90s. Manufacturing in Malaysia has added quite low value, and has spent very low on research and development. If you call for numbers, in 2016 Malaysia had spent only 1.4% of GDP in research and development, compared to South Korea's 4.5%. With a low-tech manufacturing industry, and lack of skilled labor compared to countries such as Singapore, the production in Malaysia is less competitive, and eventually make less profits, which further leads to lower worker wages. Some economists also believe that low inflation rate could be the reason. Low inflation rate causes wages to be artificially suppressed, and it creates a wide gap between Malaysians working domestically and those who work abroad. With low wages, they will be unable to attract talent from other countries even after their products and services being relatively cheaper. Also, low or middle income creates a technology gap, making Malaysia to be uncompetitive. Also, technology goods and services have become more expensive for Malaysians to purchase. With a cheap currency, it is difficult to purchase the most advanced technology to improve productivity. So, factors like these are holding Malaysia in the middle income trap. This shows, only export-led strategies might not be sufficient enough for many developing countries for sustainable economic growth. As we know, export-led growth could increase the reliance of developing countries on the developed world, while decreasing the domestic market growth. Many export-dependent developing countries started tweaking their growth strategies, especially after external demand for their exports dried up, on account of the current global financial and economic crisis. Although Malaysia's growth strategy had started emphasizing domestic demand since about a decade back, it still remains largely dependent on external demand for its economic growth. Yes, we agree, in recent years some improvements have been seen. Malaysia tends to move up the value chain, into exports of more technologically advanced products, like electronics. But in order to get to the high income status, the economy has to innovate, plus use labor and capital more productively. That might require an entirely different way of doing business. Companies can invest more heavily in research and development, and employ highly educated and skilled workers to turn those investments into new products and profits. So to conclude, even with all the problems, Malaysia has still managed to achieve some remarkable economic growth in the past few decades. Due to this, Malaysians enjoy an affluent lifestyle compared to most of the ASEAN countries. Hence, for future economic growth, they might want to change few economic strategies. And it is estimated that between 2024 to 2030, Malaysia could achieve a high income status, depending on how well the economy performs further. So what are your opinions on this? Please write in the comments below. Also, if you think we deserve, please consider subscribing. And if you really like this piece of content, then please share it with the world. We would also love to hear from you, what kind of videos you want us to create in the future. Thank you.